She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session, y'all. If you guys have been following me on this channel talking about Jonathan Majors, y'all, I told you this was going to happen. So a lot of times defense attorneys doing their job, they swear that their client is innocent, and they always say they have some bombshell evidence that's going to prove up and down that their client is innocent. And in this instance, the defense attorney has thought that she was smart and released the text messages, which in my humble opinion doesn't really establish Jonathan Majors as being innocent. In fact, it just shows a battered woman who is recanting and trying to protect her man after he was caught red-handed. That's what it sounded like to me. I'm going to let y'all be the judge, though. Let's take a look at this article, y'all. They didn't release the text messages. This man looked like a deer caught in headlights because he know he was found and caught red-handed in doing this act. And I really think logically he did it. That's my opinion. I'm starting to really think that. One thing women have to understand, don't touch a man's phone, because men, if they're doing something wrong and they are cheating, like what I suspect Jonathan Majors was doing with all this clout he getting, and he seems to have a reactive personality. People with that type of reactive personality, like him being a man and don't want to get caught in what he's doing, can tend to act violent. I mean, we've seen it happen with Chris Brown, when it happened with his phone and all that stuff. So let's read this article, y'all. So Jonathan Majors' lawyer shows text messages from alleged victim, says woman admitted fault, which, of course, women who are abused, a battered woman will always admit fault. She's always going to blame herself. That is a typical battered woman syndrome. They blame themselves for everything. They always say it's their fault. And that is what I believe and suspect is happening here, y'all. So let's read this. Jonathan Majors' attorney says she has receipts regarding the assaults claim against her client. Girl, this attorney, see, I could tell this attorney she's just doing what she needs to do to get paid, but she's not looking at the evidence from both sides, and she's not really analyzing it from the perspective of a victim. She's just looking at it from a perspective of her client, which is what's going to get her caught up. This is what got the other defendant, what's that guy's name? The man that assaulted Megan Thee Stallion. The same thing got his attorney caught up. They are so gung-ho in defending their client that they end up being the very reason why their client gets found guilty, okay? And this might end up being that case. But let's read this, continue to read this. Oh, gosh, what is this? Sorry, y'all. Wrong thing. Anyway, Jonathan Majors says he has receipts regarding the assault claims against her client, text in which the alleged victim admits she's to blame and says she doesn't want the actor prosecuted. Girl, bye. Here we go again. Majors' lawyer Priya Chaudhry tells TMZ the woman in question sent a few text messages to Creed 3 actor hours after his arrest last weekend, admitting that she was the one who used physical force against him. Okay, let's see. So the part in black is the victim, and the part in blue is Jonathan Majors. So she says, there's no note, just you knowing what happened. Then he says today at 8:58, did you leave the keys? Goodbye. And then he has her name there because he was about to be done with her, right? That he was done with her, right? So 6 p.m., he basically told her to leave the keys because he was like, leave the keys to the place. I'm done with you after this argument, her taking his phone. It just was a hot mess, y'all. Allegedly. Here, if this is her allegedly, she says, please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said that they had to arrest you as a protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. See right there? Right there. So this is telling me allegedly, that she didn't even have time. Like, because I was thinking, is this a woman scorned? Did she go out and beat herself because she's mad and put these bruises on herself? Not beat herself, but try to put these bruises on herself to get back at him. But this has sounded to me like a woman who was battered because she was trying to get his phone. He overreacted. He hit her. And she, being fearful for her life, probably caught off guard because he probably hadn't done this before. She panicked and told the police what happened, and her bruises were there, very evident. And then she thought about it, and she, the woman's emotions, the love came fluttering back, and she started feeling guilty. It was like, oh, I don't want my man to go to jail. So now she's recanting everything, trying to check on him, saying, they assured me that you won't be charged. They said that they had to arrest you as protocol. They saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. Exactly. That right there tells me he did do what he did. She's literally saying they saw what you did to me, basically. Okay. And they knew we had a fight. See right there. So there she's admitting that they had a fight. Okay. I am so angry that they did. And I'm so sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. Again, this is something that victims do of domestic violence. They always blame themselves. This is a typical characteristic of victims of domestic violence. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. See right there? That's what victims do. When they get beat and they get battered, they always blame themselves and say, oh, he beat me because I had an attitude, or he beat me because I grabbed his phone. That's what she's basically saying. I grabbed your phone and now all of a sudden it's, that's why he beat me. That's basically what she's saying, guys. Look at this sentence. It says, I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. So she's blaming herself for her being beat. It was her fault. No, girl, this is sounding like a victim of domestic violence to me. It don't sound like it's alleviating him of any leaving him any accountability. And that's the problem with defense attorneys. They always are so gung-ho to release evidence like this, thinking it's going to acquit or going to show their client's innocence, when in reality, all it does is dig a deeper hole for their client. She just further caused more harm to her client. It's like, this has got to be one of the most incompetent attorneys. I mean, not the most incompetent, because I see a lot of defense attorneys do this. This is about the third defense attorney that I've seen that has done this, at least on this channel that I've covered, where they're thinking this evidence is going to clear their client, when in reality, it hurts them even more. And there's a lot of people who are reading these text messages thinking the same thing, like, this is not alleviating this guy. This is showing that he did it. Okay. She said, I only just got out of hospital. Just call me when you're out. She didn't say anything about her lying to the officers. She didn't say, oh, I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for making this story up. I'm sorry for all this. I was just mad at you. That's why I said what I said. No, this sounds like her saying, I'm sorry that I told on for what you did. And this was my fault because I grabbed your phone. It's my fault that you slapped me because I grabbed your phone. It's my fault that, this happened to me. And then I love you. This sounds like a battered woman syndrome. This is typical of a woman who is a victim of domestic violence. If you guys have seen other cases with women of domestic violence, it is very typical pattern. You will find they all similarly do the same thing. They always they tell the officers what happened, and they feel bad and they love their guys and they just want to go back, and then they go back and tell the officers it didn't happen. Here today, she messaged him again. So she messaged him at 6 p.m. and then she messaged him again at 9:32. And she said, they just called again to check on me. I reiterated how this was not an attack. They do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She assured me this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out, and worry as my partner. And your worry, sorry. The call was due to me collapsing and passing out, and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior out of care. She promised all will be relayed. So she collapsed and she passed out. Was that collapsing and passing out due to the assault that he did to her? Was it collapsing and passing out due to him choking her? Because there is another sad tragedy out there about a man who used to choke his woman, and she would pass until she passed out. So I have questions, y'all. I don't think this really clears this guy. What do you guys think? this, especially this one right here. Please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me. They knew we had a fight. She's basically saying it happened. I'm so angry they did. I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. And this part is what really makes me find that he's guilty, y'all. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. No, he should have had more self-control. The reason why he allegedly did what he did, because he didn't want you to see what's in that phone, honey. I only got out of the hospital, so she clearly was injured because she was in the hospital. She's literally confirming it, guys. I don't know. I am not. To me, I don't think this alleviates him of any innocence. What y'all think? I just don't think it does. I think he's guilty as heck. At first, I was going to wait to get more evidence, but this text message to me is what is leaning me towards thinking that he's guilty. Because at first, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if she was a woman scorned. I didn't know, But this text message is very authentic, raw information that she would not have even known that we were going to get this information. So she was clearly speaking from the heart in this right here, basically trying to protect her man at this point, because this is typical of what domestic violence people do. They always recant. They always want the case charges dropped. It's 99.9 times that out of, normal situations with domestic violence, they're going to do this. In the text message, Chaudry claims the woman sent, she says how angry she was Jonathan had been handcuffed. Girl, by Chaudry, you know good and well, or if you're really a good defense attorney, you already know how these domestic violence cases go. The victim always says stuff like that. Come on now. She think this is really going to help Jonathan. It's not helping. The prosecutor is actually going to be silent. They're going to take this piece of evidence and they're going to use it to get him convicted, basically. They're going to use what she gave them to basically say, see, she's not basically saying he didn't do it. Now she's saying he didn't choke her. Maybe he didn't choke her, but he probably touched her neck in some way and the officers interpreted it as a choke. And then the woman passed out. So he must have hit her so bad she passed the heck out. And he felt really scared that he might have overdid it and called the police. That's what my opinion is, what happened now. Based on these text messages, y'all, now my opinion is leaning towards he did it, okay? Because at first I was like, I don't know if he did it or not. Now the text messages have come out. I think he did it, y'all. We have to think about it, guys. If he was so innocent, why would the defense attorney bring the evidence out regarding the victim? Why didn't she bring out more strong evidence, like a statement from the driver or the video surveillance? Because she can easily subpoena the records from the tax cab agency. So if he was so innocent, she would have came with stronger evidence. She would have said, here's the video surveillance. Bam, he didn't do it. Look, she's assaulting him. Or she would have said, here's a written statement from the driver. She's just going for what the victim says, which 9 times out of 10, victims always say that. That's why I'm really suspicious of this sketchy defense attorney who's just trying to get a paycheck. That's what I think she's all about. Anyway, she adds, we'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. Right. That is something a victim says. That is not, what was her fault? What was her fault? Mr. Jonathan slapping her allegedly? Or him grabbing her by the neck, allegedly? Because clearly when the officers heard what she said, they interpreted it as a strangulation. Maybe he grabbed her by the neck and they saw some scars or they saw some type of abrasion there or a bruising there on her neck. That made them believe that, because the cop's not going to just put that on there and just make some stuff up just because it's the thing to do. Now, there are some sketchy cops out there that will do that. I'm not going to lie. There is some sketchy cops that will make up some fake evidence and write some false reports. But if in this case they were really going to make some stuff up, don't you think they would kind of make it more grandiose so that it could rise to a felony? I mean, this is a misdemeanor charge. It's not like it's a felony charge. I would think that the officers would really go all in and make it rise to a felony. Okay. So I don't know. I don't feel the officers would have made that up. I feel like they might have just interpreted what she said. She might have said, oh, he grabbed me by the neck. And they was like, okay, that's strangulation. You know what I mean? Because she passed out. So did he hold her neck a little too long and she passed out? He was like, oh, shoot, I screwed up. Let me call the police. Okay. Because he was worried because he might have unalived her. Allegedly, he might have overreacted. Like I said, I feel like Jonathan Majors has an underlying mean streak about him. And if you cross him the wrong way, that angry spirit will arise, and it will be a spirit of rage that comes upon him. That is just an opinion, y'all. It's just an opinion that I just get from him, just from some of the things I've seen. And that's just what it's my opinion. I may be wrong. Y'all can tell me what y'all think, but I just get that vibe from him, y'all. The text exchange continued a few hours later with the woman reiterating she's pushing hard to make sure the DA doesn't charge Jonathan for the incident. Now, I have seen so many domestic violence cases, and it's almost like a script because all the victims do the same thing. They'll get beat, and then they call the police, and then like within a few minutes later, they call the police again. They claim that it didn't happen, and that they're, it was their fault, or they made it up because they have issues, and they blame themselves. They'll be like, oh, it's my fault because I have mental issues, or it's my fault because I got loud with him, or it's my fault because, I reached for his phone, like she's saying. It's like a script. It's like every story is the same, just a different person and just slightly different facts, but the same thing. They always come back, talk to the DA, try to get the DA to drop it, which is why the DA will not drop it based on this information alone. The DA is going to need to see that video surveillance that the Miss Defense Attorney is claiming she has, and they're going to have to hear from that driver, because as this stands, this little text message is not going to do anything. I don't know why the defense attorney didn't come out with more strong evidence. She should have came out with the driver, because now she got people in the community questioning Jonathan, like, maybe he did do it. Okay. I've read some comments where people are starting to think, he did do it. Chaudhry says she has turned these text messages over to law enforcement. And, she should have never released this, because at first, a lot of people were on his side. A lot of people were like, oh, he couldn't have done it. Maybe there's some battered woman, like not battered woman, but some woman scorned, she mad because he cheated. So she's trying to make up the story, right? Well, now that these text messages have come out, now people are more so thinking he did it. Okay. So she kind of hurt him, and in the public eye. This is not going to help him. This just made this man's situation worse. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful what attorney you hire, because there are a lot, in my opinion, incompetent attorneys that don't really think about that they think this evidence is really exculpatory, but it's not exculpatory. It's not in any way helping this guy. As reported, Majors was arrested for misdemeanor assault, aggravated harassment, attempted assault, and harassment after the woman allegedly saw another woman texting her, and she tried to sneak a peek at his phone, and he probably slapped her to get her away from the phone. Okay, allegedly. And this man this is a big dude, y'all. We saw Mr. Major's muscles. He's a big dude. So if he slaps her, he gonna knock the daylights out of that girl. That girl probably did pass out from being slapped, and he panicked and thought, oh shoot, I might have took her out. You know what I mean? Chaudhry told us Sunday she was already working hard to gather evidence disproving the claims, which seems to include text messages, and she believes there is also video footage from inside the vehicle where the alleged incident went down that will clear. Okay. This girl keeps recanting. First, what we've heard from her, the attorney claimed up and down, the defense attorney claimed up and down that there was video surveillance, and she was going to present it to us and all this stuff, right? Now she has changed her statement. Now the defense attorney is saying, I believe there's video evidence. So what this defense attorney is saying is she never even looked at the video surveillance. She doesn't even know what's on that video surveillance. And that video surveillance could be the very piece of evidence to show that he did backhand her allegedly and get her around the neck. Okay, so this defense attorney is doing everything all wrong, in my opinion. I feel she's very incompetent. She didn't even look at the surveillance before she went all out here confidently saying there was this video surveillance that was going to basically acquit this man of whatever he did. Guys, this is not it. This is not it. Jonathan Majors picked the wrong attorney. He definitely picked the wrong attorney. At first she was like she had but now she's saying she believes, y'all. Look at that word. She believes. I'm done. I am so done. And if he was so innocent, where's the driver? Driver has not come clean at all. Driver probably not coming clean out because he knows he saw something else in that car. And it's not what Jonathan's claiming, okay? We've reached out to Manhattan DA for comment. So far, no word back. Yeah, because the DA is not even, she's done. She's not even listening to this defense attorney. She's laughing because she's seeing this defense attorney dig a grave for her client. Okay? That's what she do. She's digging a grave for this man. This man about to get convicted. He about to get convicted whether or not the victim complies or not, because it's like, you don't even know it's on the video surveillance, girl. And you over here just saying up and down that is going to alleviate him, okay, of any crime. I'm done. And now people are questioning, since people are questioning Jonathan Majors' lawyers, okay, after they released alleged text message from one man he allegedly assaulted. So, yes, guys, people are questioning. People are thinking that he's guilty. They said Jonathan Majors' lawyer shares alleged text messages. I want to see what people have to say. People are thinking, they say, yeah, this isn't helping. Did you see that? Yeah, this isn't helping. His lawyer. Another day, another client behind bars. He was guilty. Please fund my Momo wallet. It's true. You know, the sad thing about it, a lot of times it's not even the prosecutor that digs the grave for the defendant. It's usually the defense attorney themselves. Their own attorney is what usually leads to them being found guilty a lot of times, in my humble opinion. I'm just saying, in my humble opinion, a lot of times you got to be very careful and make sure your attorney is competent, because this attorney ain't it. She said, my fault for trying to grab the phone. You say Major's lawyer released these? Sounds like she's been manipulated by him to think it's her fault. See, look at that. Sounds like she's been manipulated by him to think it's her fault, which is typically what domestic violence people do. Victims always blame themselves. They usually 9 times out of 10, they're always saying it's their fault, and they always go back and try to recant, y'all. At this point, I think he did it. I think he did it now. I was so just in the middle, didn't know what to think, but now, guys, I think he did it. I'm sorry. He did it, in my opinion. And I do hope he does get found guilty. I hope those prosecutors go after that man and he be held accountable, because you should not be putting your hands on a woman just because she grabbed your phone. You shouldn't have been cheating in the first place. And now you're trying to hide it. So now you want to react violent because you got caught. Boy, bye.